Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Off-Farm Income Podcast. Thank you very much for joining us here today on our YouTube channel for episode number 911. Well, I'm having a great time interviewing National Star Finalists. In today's episode, I am featuring Mikara Anderson. She is coming to us from Southern Huntington High School in, Three Springs, Pennsylvania, formerly of Southern Huntington High School. She has been nominated for National Star Farmer based on what she's been doing with sheep production all over the eastern United States. She has got a great story. I am very excited to see where her future leads her and really excited to tell her story with you today. We're going to get that started for you right now. Mikara, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Hey, I am more than pleased to be able to speak with you. One of my favorite times of the year. You know, it's funny. The fall has always been a favorite time of the year for me. But now that I do this show and I get to interview all the star finalists every fall, it adds to it. I really, really enjoy it. And so congratulations to you on being nominated as a National Star Finalist. That is one heck of an accomplishment.
Thank you so much.
You bet. I'm excited to learn more about it. So let's do this. Let's let everybody know about you a little bit. So you are currently going to school at Penn State, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What are you studying?
So I study animal science, business, and management, and then I also have minors in agribusiness management as well as wildlife and fisheries science.
Whoa. Okay. That's a lot. And let's break that down really quick. We'll come back around because you are nominated as Star Farmer this year.
Absolutely.
As National Star Farmer. That's awesome. Okay. So animal science major and a minor in agribusiness, but also in fish and wildlife. Did I catch all that correctly? Yeah. Okay. So one of these things is not like the other. Where's the fish and wildlife part come from?
Yeah. So I actually had an internship over the summer at Racetown Lake, which is an Army Corps of Engineers project. So it's regulated by the federal government. And I really enjoyed what I was doing there. And it was essentially an environmental resource and stewardship internship.
Okay.
And so I really enjoyed that. And I decided that, whatever I decide to do upon graduation, which my thought is that I would like to go to law school, that I would have a well-rounded experience if I had animal science, agribusiness, as well as some environmental courses. Mm-hmm. And so just kind of keeping my options open. I love animals, and obviously animal science links into wildlife and fish as well. Mm-hmm. So just kind of trying to get a well-rounded perspective.
Wow. That is so cool. So I did a couple internships in college, and internships are so good for helping you find out what it is you do want to do. They're also great for helping you find out what you don't want to do. It's really it's an exciting time to do that. And I'm picturing what you've been going through. So how long have you been in college now? What year are you in?
So technically I'm in my second year of college, but I'm actually a junior as far as credit status.
Okay.
My high school offered courses, so I got ahead a little bit, but second year in college.
Okay. So you're in your second year, you're doing internships, you're taking classes, your interests are growing, and you're taking all these puzzle pieces and you're kind of putting them together. And so now you're talking about going to law school later, and you're going, wow, I could go to law school and look how I could make myself unique. I could have this experience in fish and wildlife, in environmental studies, in animal science, and agriculture. And it starts to really take shape, and you can start to really see your future and where you can go with it. That's a really exciting time.
It absolutely is, and I just can't wait to see what other experiences I can continue to add to that as I complete my undergraduate degree.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so now when did you first get involved with the FFA?
Yeah, so I joined whenever I was in 8th grade. Whenever you are in 8th grade at my high school, you can take the Intro to Ag class, which is a 1-marking period class, so 9 weeks out of the school year. And it's sort of just an opportunity for all middle school students to get a taste for agriculture. Mm-hmm. And if you want to be involved in the FFA, you can. If you don't want to be, so be it. And I grew up in a farming family. There's many people before me that were previously FFA members. And so it was only natural that when I got into 8th grade, I was one of those FFA knowledge wizards that would just join FFA and be a part of it since I could at the beginning in 8th grade.
Okay. Cool. 8th grade. So that's a recurring theme as I do the interviews this year of star candidates is beginning in 8th grade. So as early as you could. So you were drawn into it. You had family history that kind of compelled you to get into the FFA?
Absolutely. It's just something many of my family members have done. We're in a rural area, and, most people in the high school is involved in FFA in my area.
Okay. Now, as you went through, as you were doing your high school time in FFA, did you go into officer roles and things like that?
Yes. So obviously, when I was a first-year member, I didn't serve in a role, but I was able to just reap all the benefits that was in the FFA during my 8th grade year, whether that be conferences, conventions, competitions, things like that. But then I was the historian of my chapter after that for 2 consecutive years. I then became the vice president my junior year of high school, and then I served as the president my senior year of high school. And I'm actually currently serving the state of Pennsylvania as the state president.
Oh, you are. Wow, look at you. Congratulations. That is a heck of an accomplishment in and of itself. My goodness. Okay. Man, talking to the elite. I'm always so humbled when I get to talk with star finalists. So you're currently serving as Pennsylvania's state president, state FFA president. So
yes.
Do you, in the state of Pennsylvania, when you serve as a state officer, they want you to take a year off of school and focus just on that, or do you continue with your studies?
Yeah, so typically they encourage you, strongly encourage you to take off a year of college and defer because we are on the road 24/7. We don't have really time to commit to both being a state officer as well as college. But with this year being a little weird, and in Pennsylvania, a lot of things are closed this year, and we're not allowed to go to a lot of events that we normally would. My state advisor was definitely hesitant with me continuing school, but because of the circumstances, he understood. So I am dually enrolled, like I'm in college as well as serving as a state officer in the same time. But in a typical year, no, we wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay. And your high school was Southern Huntington County High School, is that right?
Yes.
Three Springs, Pennsylvania. So where in the state of Pennsylvania is Three Springs?
Yeah, so it's in the south central portion of Pennsylvania. So if you look at like Harrisburg on the map, that's about, like Harrisburg and State College are about centrally located. I'm just about an hour south of both of them. So 3 hours from Pittsburgh, 3 hours from Philly, right smack dab in the middle practically.
Okay, I went and spoke at Mechanicsburg at their FFA chapter a couple years ago. Are you anywhere close to that?
Yeah, I'm about probably 45 minutes to an hour from Mechanicsburg.
To which direction?
It would be northeast a little bit.
Northeast. Okay. Huh, very cool. And what a beautiful state you live in. I live in the West, and the grass is always greener, but that's literally true where you live because it is dry in the West. We go into a drought every summer, and then we come out of it in the winter, hopefully. But, man, so pretty and green in Pennsylvania. That was a beautiful drive. Okay, so animal science law school. So tell me about law school. What compels you to become an attorney? Yeah,
so growing up, I'm actually a first-generation college student, and I knew that going through high school that I wanted to go to college and started kind of soul-searching what I would be interested in. And for the longest time, I always wanted to be a high school ag teacher. I love teaching people and educating others about agriculture and the world around them. And I also had a little bit of a knack for public policy and public speaking and being in the political arena. So I had some experiences throughout high school where I was able to speak on the House floor, go to some political party interviews and things like that. And so that just really kind of compelled me to get involved in the public sector. And so that kind of propelled me to get into law school. And I also know that in the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, there are in-house attorneys that actually legally counsel the employees in the Department of Ag, as well as some different producers around the state. And I would love to be in that role to actively advocate for our industry.
Wow. Man, speaking to the legislature in Pennsylvania, that's where it all started. The Constitutional Convention, everything. Pennsylvania. It can't get more significant than speaking to the legislature there. I know it's the state legislature, but still, same. Wow, that's really cool. So an attorney in the Department of Ag. Now, just to take you down just a different rabbit hole, just for a second, just to think about this. I used to be a police officer for 15 years, and man, with a law degree and your major and your minor and all your achievements through the FFA, you would be the most eclectic FBI agent ever. I'm just saying. You know,
I've never heard that before, but that is very interesting.
Well, you know, that's a lot of FBI agents come out of law school. I'm just saying. But anyway, I think your plan is great. That is really cool. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, let's do this. I want to acknowledge your FFA advisors and those people that have helped you along the way, and then we want to talk about our sponsors for a minute, and then we want to get to your supervised agricultural experience. So, who are or who have been your FFA advisors?
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate that I had 2 FFA advisors throughout my time in the FFA. My first ag teacher was Mrs. Rebecca Sellers. She was my ag teacher from 8th grade until 11th grade. And then Mrs. Courtney Boer was my second ag teacher when I was a senior. And then still today, she would be my home ag teacher at Southern Huntington. So they're both my ag teachers, and they're super supportive and have been a huge help over the years. Super supportive.
They got to be super excited too, I would think.
I think so.
Very cool. Well, let me take a moment just to talk about our great sponsors, Mikara. Everybody, of course, Powder River Livestock Handling Equipment. You know, out here in the West, they have been developing livestock handling equipment to handle some of the toughest cattle we have in the country for over 80 years now. And I have known about this brand and this company my entire life growing up around cattle. And now we've got our own Powder River squeeze chute and livestock panels on our farm here in Idaho. And we want you to do the same. We want you to check out everything they've got to offer you over at powderriver.com, and then let your local farm and ranch retailer know you want to see that Powder River green out in their sales yard, so you can also own the finest in livestock handling equipment. And then, of course, Lacrosse Footwear. Couldn't be more excited to be sponsored by such a historic company going back to 1897. They've got roots in World War II, helping out soldiers. I mean, just a great and historic company, and love to talk about Lacrosse when it comes to our FFA interviews, because they are so proud to support the FFA by donating $25,000 in both jackets and scholarships every year through the Give the Gift of Blue program. And we use them every day. They're Alpha Range boots every single day here on our farm in Idaho. We want you to do the same. Check out everything that they have got to offer for you over at lacrossefootwear.com. All right, well, Mikara, let's talk about this. Let's talk about being a star farmer. So you're one of 4 out of 700,000 plus students. I mean, have you done the math on that and went, I could have been struck by lightning 6 times before this happened? Have you done that?
I have not done that math, but the shock is still here. So
yeah, those numbers are pretty phenomenal, and I know it's your supervised agricultural experience that has led you to that. What had you been doing for your SAE?
Yeah, so I actually have 11 supervised agricultural experiences, 9 of which qualified me for the Star Farmer Award. And primarily, I raise breeding sheep for show stock that I sell to producers all across the country. So I used to have Icelandic breeding sheep, and then I currently have natural coloreds, Hampshires, Monadales, and commercial Hampshire Suffolk crossbred ewes. And then not only do I breed them for the stud rams and brood ewes, but then I also have some that I sell for meat production as well. And then in addition to that, I raise market lambs, goats, and swine. And then I lease 2 dairy cows for a long period of time as well, just to experience other aspects of the agricultural industry and really just kind of broaden my knowledge and perspectives. So yeah, I'm solely involved I'm the sole owner of my sheep operation, and I have about 90 sheep that I maintain on a daily basis.
Wow. Okay. All right, I'm going to circle back to that. I got to ask you lease 2 dairy cattle? Is that right? 2 dairy cows?
Yes.
Okay. You lease them for the purpose of showing them, or are you milking them? I got to ask.
Yeah, so it started out as just kind of a project for me to understand the dairy industry and to milk them. So it was on my uncle's dairy farm. He has registered Jerseys and registered Holsteins. So I leased a Jersey calf as well as a Jersey 2-year-old. So the 2-year-old was in milk. And so I would help milk, feed, get ready for show, work with the animals. Basically any task that needed done on the dairy farm, I would help do that when I was available. And then I would also show them at just the county show, just to kind of experience that. But the main part of it was just being on the farm and understanding how a dairy operation works. Well,
I mean, you're obviously, there's all sorts. You talked about for a long time wanting to be an ag teacher, so you probably understand that there's different modes of learning. And obviously, we're figuring out that Mikara's mode of learning is by getting your hands on something and doing something. That's your mode of learning. Yeah, very cool. Okay, how did you get involved with sheep?
Yeah, so I actually was a part of the 4-H program. Well, let me back up, actually. I have an older sister that she's 6 years older than me, and she actually showed horses throughout her time in 4-H. And so I showed horses before I was even old enough to join 4-H. And then when I joined 4-H, I realized that I want to show some things different than horses. And so I started showing goats and swine at my county fair. And whenever I turned 12 years old, my 4-H leader came to me and she said, "Hey, Mikara, I don't know if you'd be interested in starting a breeding sheep project, but there's this essay contest in Maryland that you could write to receive one rare breed of sheep," which was very interesting. And so I thought, I've never experienced a breeding project. Maybe I should try it. And I applied for that essay, and I received one Icelandic breeding ewe, which I eventually grew that flock to only 4 head within the next 2 years. But I realized from that experience that there's so much more value to having a breeding operation than there is to just simply taking market projects to your local county fair. Mm-hmm. And so I just really enjoyed that experience and decided, well, if I'm going to get my feet wet a little bit, I might as well go all in and start a breeding operation. So that's kind of how I got into sheep. It was just kind of by chance that, my 4-H advisor found the essay contest, and that's how I got in. But yeah, it was an interesting story, and here I am today.
Okay, so you've got a flock or a total of around 90 head of sheep now, and so that obviously is dominating, I guess, the species numbers of animals that you're raising. So something clicked when you got the sheep.
Yes, absolutely. I just think, there's so much value to a breeding operation. There's so much more that you learn whenever you're raising these animals day in, day out for multiple years on end versus just having them for a few months and selling them at your county fair and selling them, a couple days later. So yeah, I just thought, this is a chance for me to help fund my college education. This is a chance for me to gain real life experience, and why not?
Wow. Okay. So you said that you're selling sheep all over the country now, is that right?
Yes.
Are you selling any internationally at this point?
I do not have any that are going internationally, or at least not that I know of.
Okay.
But at least not directly from my farm.
How many states have you sold sheep into so far?
Oh my goodness. I would say probably at least 13 or so. It's mostly right now just the, what would I say, like eastern side of the United States.
Okay.
But I've definitely bought from all across the country. So hopefully it will keep expanding.
Okay. Oh, well, I'm going to throw out a random thing here. This will be phenomenal if the answer is yes. Have you ever heard of Valley Home, California?
No.
You ever bought sheep from the Bianchis in California?
No, I have not.
Okay. It was a swing and a miss, but that's okay. That's just where I grew up, and I know some friends there that raise sheep, good quality sheep. Okay, so you've bought sheep from all over the country. You've sold into 13 different states, we think. How do these people in these 13 different states, how did they find out about you and decide that they wanted to purchase sheep from you?
Yeah, so like I said, I've bought sheep from all over the country, and so not only do I have connections with producers in other places, so I buy a yearling ewe off of Peterson's in North Dakota, and they, see me show that ewe all across different shows across the country throughout the year. And then, somebody finds out I bought it from them. I eventually breed that ewe, and it did well on the national level. So they want to buy lambs off of that ewe. So kind of just a chain reaction of, getting out there and showing in different states, and then people recognizing what genetics I have and wanting to incorporate them into their operations as well. So more word of mouth than anything, but definitely getting myself out there and my flock out there has helped a lot.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, so now fast forwarding to when you are an attorney and you're running the legal department for the Pennsylvania Department of Ag. What's going to go on with your sheep business?
Yeah, so I love this question because my sheep are a part of me. They're a part of my life, truly, and they will go wherever I go. So I firmly believe that. Right now, they're obviously being housed at my parents' farm, and wherever my career takes me, if they're not able to go with me, that's where they will stay. But I will still be there, feed them on the weekends and shear them whenever it's that time of year. But my goal is honestly to purchase my grandfather's. He has 2 farms. So my goal is to actually purchase his second farm that he doesn't use as much. And it's about 30 acres, and it's designed for goats whenever he raised goats there.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'd be a perfect fit for the sheep. And I would love to double my flock and use that as just kind of a hobby, second source of income opportunity for my children someday. All of those things.
That is awesome. Good for you. Where is the, oh boy, I hate exposing myself as, not a smart person on this show, but I do it all the time. The state capital of Pennsylvania, is it Philadelphia?
No, Harrisburg.
Harrisburg. See, that's why I should have never guessed. So
that's okay.
So when you go to Harrisburg, the sheep, they'll have to stay on the parents' farm, or if you buy your grandfather's farm, right?
Yeah, so Harrisburg's actually only about a 50-minute drive from where I live, so that wouldn't be a bad work commute whatsoever.
Okay. Now, what about when you go to Washington, D.C.? Because, I know you've got a lot of Pennsylvania pride, but I see USDA, maybe Secretary of Ag written all over this deal here. So what about when you go there? There's lots of, that Capitol Mall, they should mow that with sheep.
Yeah.
The carpet.
Well,
go ahead.
The White House lawn, they used to have sheep on the White House lawn.
Yeah.
So.
You got to bring that back. You'll have to bring that back.
I would love to. I think people would enjoy that.
And with all this talk about carbon footprints and stuff these days, it's time to go back, right? And bring the sheep back.
Absolutely. Great lawn aesthetic.
Yeah, I think it would be great to see sheep mowing all the grass out there in the Capitol Mall. It's just weird when they go down the tunnel into the metro. Then you don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, that is great. Man, I am excited for you. Okay, so Southern Huntington, has there been a star finalist from there before?
No, we've never actually had anybody apply from my high school. Very small high school in Pennsylvania. We've had students apply for our state star farmer, but never for a national star award. Wow.
And here you are. You're the first to apply. And somebody went, "What's been taking you so long, Southern Huntington? Of course she's a star finalist."
I guess so.
What do you think put you over the top with your business? Why are you one of the 4 elite?
Yeah, so I actually wonder this myself, but I think, I don't have the volume of animals that typically a star farmer has, but I think that truly the experiences that I have exposed myself to throughout my time in the FFA and in my supervised agricultural experiences have really allowed me to just kind of be a step above the rest. I might not have the numbers, but the experiences that I'm getting with that smaller number of sheep is really no different than if I would have had 300 or 3,000 sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just really because I've been so adamant about, getting involved in breed associations, showing across the country, making a market for my lambs here at home. I think that has really helped me a lot because I have a profitable operation. I am the sole owner of that operation. I know what I'm doing, and it's been successful so far. So I think that that's helped a lot.
That's great. Well, I want to finish up with a piece of advice from you to students who might be listening to this and following in your footsteps. And it goes exactly to what you just said. You're not the biggest, but you have squeezed absolutely everything you can out of what you have and what opportunities were presented to you. What advice do you have for students that are coming in? They've got big goals. They'd like to reach the heights that you're reaching, but they don't. They're not coming in with the same resources or maybe advantages that other students are. What do you say to them?
My advice would be to use the resources that are at your disposal. So I obviously came from a farming family, but that didn't really put me in the position to become a star farmer someday. Because I knew that this was something that I would be potentially interested in, and I wanted to gain all these experiences from the FFA, I reached out to people in my county as well as all across the state of Pennsylvania that I knew could give me the advice necessary and the help that I needed in order to get my operation on its feet, understand the ropes of everything sheep, as well as those supplemental livestock projects associated with my SAE. And I think just to students, in my opinion, don't be afraid to ask for that help. A man that has influenced my project a lot. Mr. Sam Hayes, he was a former Pennsylvania Secretary of Agriculture and as well as served in the House of Representatives. He actually raised sheep, and I knew that, and I reached out to him, even though it might have been a little bit scary to begin with, because, a man of his tenure and me as a 12-year-old reaching out to him. But I think because I made that connection and that relationship, that was able to take my project way more places than I could have ever imagined and that I could have ever sustained by myself. So as a middle or high school student joining the FFA, if you have any interest in pursuing an SAE or just gaining these experiences, reach out to the professionals and the people that have already been in your shoes and learn from them, and then go from there and allow them to help and coach you throughout your time in the FFA.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I admire you for doing that when you were 12. Did you write a letter? Did you send an email? What'd you do?
I actually wrote a letter.
Very cool. Well, I know you were nervous, but then what you didn't realize at age 12, you probably thought he got like hundreds of letters a day. And he got one that year from a 12-year-old. That was from you. So he responded. That's really cool. Good for you, Mikara. It has been a pleasure to meet you and to get to know you, and best of luck to you. I'm excited for you, and I can't wait to see what happens. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciated your time today.
Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you to Mikara Anderson for coming on the Off-Farm Income Podcast today, and best of luck to her. As always, enjoy your journey to the ultimate lifestyle business, agriculture.